Hello again, model kit builders. So I did a Votom's Obsolete exo frame, and it was pretty cool. I liked it. I liked it enough that I decided to get a few more of these kits. And today we have the USMC Project Gavial, or Gavial, not sure. So it's supposed to be a futuristic marine exo frame or robot that people get into and fight stuff. So it's supposed to be 2.865 meters, and it's got some experimental weapons, an exo rifle, and a tactical torch. You can read the story on that. This is a video you can watch on YouTube, by the way, Obsolete. So you want to look up maybe that and maybe animation or something. It's an anime. It's supposed to be 1/35th scale. Oh, it is out on Blu-ray as well, apparently. And I don't see a date. I have no idea how old this model kit is, but I would have to assume it came out during or after those YouTube videos. It also says not for sale. What does that mean? I don't know if this is a limited edition freebie or something. That's interesting. Anyways, it looks pretty interesting compared to the much bigger than the green Botoms one I have, which we'll compare to later. Okay, well, let me get this open. This is an excessively huge box. The proportions are really strange because it's a very thin box, but it's so much real estate. You know, I kind of prefer it the other way around, a more normal sized proportion where it might be a little thicker, but it's not so big. But I guess that's the reason why right there. They want to get more pieces onto the runners instead of having multiple runners, you know. A normal sized box, this might have to be cut in two and have two separate runners. Alright, it all makes sense now. Let's just look at these plastics here. There's a decal sheet in there, I see. So this orange, let's just take a look at these larger pieces here. I don't see a great deal of the, oh, no, there it is. Here you can see like the cooling area, I think, where the plastic met itself in the mold, same with there. But you know what? Being military robots, I would imagine they would be all messed up from being exposed to the elements and fighting and stuff, so I don't think I'm even going to bother painting that. I'll probably just give him a paint wash, but I might have to add some paint to this guy. You know, an orange character here is going to need some color. The parts look nice and crisp though, nice and sharp, sharply molded. So we have water slide decals under there, so that's good. No stickers. Alright, well, oh, we have a gray character as well, so let's see what the difference is between this driver, or pilot, or rider. I'm not sure what these would be considered, since they do all three. Oh, this guy's just got a casual hat on, as if he's like working in a base or something, whereas this guy looks like he's out in the field. And then this is the actual exo frame, which has another third character, so you have a lot of choices of who's going to pilot this thing. Interesting. This is a female character. I've seen this character in that Botom's kit I built. I'm pretty sure this runner itself is the base exo frame. Like, it is a rideable robot. And then all this other stuff is just the U.S. Marines adding parts to make it a militarized robot. That's my impression I got from the series, which isn't very long. I only wish the series kept going. I thought it had potential. Alright, so some areas for, you know, call outs for the decals. And then there are all the pieces. I'm not sure why there's a bunch of X's. Oh, I would have to assume those parts are not used. So if that is the case, you might want to save those for like a kit bash or something like that, because they do look like nice parts. Alright, so you build up the exo frame first. There you go, off that first runner. And then I guess we're going to add all these extra bits to the exo frame to eventually get it to look like that last photo. And so here you can see here the pilot will slide into the backpack there. Okay, well, as usual, I'm going to fast forward this. If you want to just catch me at the end, I'll talk about any problems I may have run into. Oh, one last thing. What is this? Looks like an index card. Fit in a folder file. But, I don't know. I highly doubt I'm going to collect this. It's, I mean, it has two holes at the very end. it's no information on it. It's just a background. But why would it have two holes? Maybe there's some plastic stand pieces? Oh, you know what? Yeah, there were. See here? I assume this is... Oh, well, this will be interesting. I'll definitely put that in the video. We'll see what that ends up looking like. So here we are finished. I painted the figures crudely, seeing how you won't even see the figure. But let's go over this thing. There was nothing majorly wrong, no major hiccups. Yeah, just follow the instructions. There were a lot of redundant parts though. Like this main shell here, there's a duplicate, so it's kind of weird that you pay for that. But whatever. I didn't actually follow the exact color scheme that was on the instruction manual. I posed this to try to get to see if it would hold the foregrip of the front end of the rifle, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. You know, the chest is just too wide. So, all right. So I guess we should first go over the cockpit area. So this hatch here does open. The problem is it's really difficult to open. I can get maybe my finger in there. It's actually easier to just open up the back hatch. So this is the back hatch, and then you can take your finger. But it kind of collides with that roll cage there. So you can do that. And so we have our three characters. The standard female character. Yeah, I guess she will sit in there. But there's no actual seat for these guys. This is the original exo frame, but the exo frame seat won't fit in there. Then we got the casual baseball cap dude. And yeah, that guy will fit as well. Alright. But I think I'm going to just leave the pilot looking figure. I didn't go by any color schemes, I just went with whatever paint I had. So this guy's got a red helmet here. And now it'll close up the hatch, and there are these little tabs that kind of keep that hatch in place, which is nice. Kind of snaps there. And then you can kind of see the person in there, but it's pretty far down. Alright, so that's that. You can actually just pull this whole box off and then switch back to this, but I'll build up one of the plane frames another day. So let's see, the head, it does rotate on a little peg, although the paint I have made it really thick and tight, so... But it gets a pretty decent amount of articulation. Kind of reminds me of Chappie, that movie robot. Okay. And then the shoulders, I guess, we'll go into next. Pretty good butterfly back and forth there. And then you can rotate this 90-degree ball peg thing. What's nice is it's a hex hole with a round shaft, so it doesn't grip so much that it wants to tear the thing off. So there you can see the butterfly effect there. Okay, and you can actually move it up and down a little bit, but this armor, you know, tends to get in the way. So there you go. Let's see, up, down, rotation, get it tight. This shoulder is kind of nice because it has this armor flap that pivots, and then also the entire shoulder will pivot on that gray peg system, ball peg system. Okay, so that being around bottom part of the hinge ball peg, you can rotate this whole bicep area, and it's just a single peg hinge for the forearm, and it will get gappy, so I kind of rotate it and push them together, and you can get it bent. Whoop. You can get bent over 90 degrees, as you can see, a little bit, but not too much further. Alright. I did glue this orange piece on because it was very loose on the gray, so I glued it in place. And then this one has these hands, you know, orange hands I decided to go with. The standard hands are quite small, and these are the standard frame hands. Okay. It also has standard frame feet, but as you can see, we have these marine feet here. The decal actually made sense. The decals are really quite sticky, or maybe it's just my Mr. Mark setter. It's just a different fluid than I'm used to. It was a lot more difficult to put these. They didn't slide around very much. I did have to use some Mark's decal softener right here because it's just like rib sticking out, and the decal had a hard time getting around it. Okay, it's almost like they should have had two decals here, one for this surface and one for the vertical surface, but it's all one decal, so... Okay, what else here? That is it, I guess, for the upper torso. You can obviously see I have this machine gun in place. So of the big orange hands, you have three. You know, this one grippy gun hand where the finger actually kind of covers the trigger. I guess there's no reason for me to take that out because I can just swap out the whole hand. The other hand is just this, like, I guess it's a wavy hand. Yeah. There's no wrist articulation other than spinning it. It doesn't like pivot or anything like that. Look how small the thing is. Okay. So now the lower frame here, there is a peg, so that gets a little bit of left-right movement there in rotation. These armor flaps are just friction fit, but they stick pretty well. Then you can see the ball joint system again. All the ball joints are identical in size, and you end up having two extras as well. So if you break one, very nice that they had their other ones. So with that said, you can obviously rotate it back that far, rotate it forward. The armor's colliding that far. At least when the legs are generally parallel. But I guess maybe if I pivot this out on the hinge, yeah, I can get it much further up. Okay, so it's nice, this little ball hinge system here. Okay, this drive wheel will actually pivot. No, wait, I might be mistaken. Never mind. When it's on the torso, it won't pivot. But off the torso, I was doing like that and stuff like that. And then this is all friction fit. I didn't use glue in this area. This wheel I did paint it while I was in this assembly, so I guess the paint got stuck. But when I was painting it, I could actually spin this black tire in here. Yeah, unfortunately I painted it shut. Okay, and then these weird funky drive wheels, they're just on that peg, and they will rotate as well, but there's really no reason to. Then we have the knee. It's just a hinge right there, and again, if you twist it a lot, it might get gappy, so I kind of pushed them together. And then we can see it'll actually bend much more than 90 degrees, so that's pretty nice. And then for this ball peg system, half of the ball is already molded onto the shin. So all you're doing is putting in the other half, and then that other half has a peg going to the foot. So now you can rotate the whole ankle quite far down, decent amount up, and then the foot is on that round peg with the hex hole again. Wow, that's really, really thin. I'm surprised they did it that way. But anyways, so you can obviously have some rocker of the toes and all that. Put that back together. Oh, I think this might... No. Okay, yeah, so this upper torso will pivot down a little bit. Not sure why I pose it that way myself, but maybe it'll come to me later. Okay, so... It's interesting. I guess it helps it look down because the head has no up-down articulation. All the joints are nice and tight because it is new. Okay, and then it has this like lightsaber, beam saber kind of thing. Pretty nice texture and all that. A little tiny stub, but I don't know if that's meant to actually allow it to sit in anything. Actually, you know what? Let's get this rifle out and see what it looks like with this beam saber thing. Yeah, I don't see any hole in the actual hand, so maybe it just goes like, oh, maybe that's like a thumb stop. Okay. I just had it painted a Vallejo orange, a little bit different than the body itself. So, yeah, it's alright, I guess. I kind of wish it could be stored somewhere, though. But then again, it wouldn't make sense if this was stored in the on position. I guess I just wish it had a handle, you know, an unlit handle. And then I could have that stored somewhere in the back. These little protrusions, they almost look like they would be able to, you know, have some flaps or something friction fit onto them. Same with back here, but the model kit directions didn't ask for anything else, and I didn't really bother. Hold on here. Here's some of the other orange parts. Ignore the gray ones, they're from a different kit. So there's that thing again, a duplicate. There's some smoke dischargers, different kind of roll cage, a side mount roll cage, another front sensor. What's weird is the front sensor here has no like indication of sensors. They're just two round circles, but they should have like a recess or a protrusion, so they look like military sensors, but they're not there. Okay. So, one thing that got me a little confused is this rendering is not actually the model. So first, see, I was expecting to see some sort of decals of these two sensors, but they're not on the decal sheet. So it's kind of weird that they wouldn't mold those as recesses instead. I see the beam saber here, which looks like a handle, but again, there's no way to actually mount that beam saber on here, right? So that's kind of weird, confusing as well. There's also these decals here. You'll notice how smooth this thigh is. It does have that one protrusion. This thigh has that one protrusion, but it's very angular, like a stealth fighter, right? So I couldn't quite figure out the decal to make it look like that because it's not the actual same surface. So I decided to just put it in this orientation and try to line it up with this edge, and then I folded the rest over the back. So that's what's going on with that decal. I wish the decal was just longer, and then you could orient it any angle you want. But that's what I decided to go with. I was asking for these flaps to be painted tan, but they're the same part as that orange, so I'm not going to bother. It'll just look nasty. And then these feet, you'll notice, they look nothing like these feet here, you know, with these claws or spikes sticking out. They also don't look like the standard feet at all whatsoever, so that's a little confusing as well. So I don't know if they just got these images from the Obsolete television show. Maybe that's what happened. They're not actually CAD renderings that became the CAD model to make this model kit. That's what I'm suspecting. It's no big deal, but just thought I'd throw it out there in case you're like, why doesn't this look like what I'm making? Alright. So you'll see I put the little background together. Naturally, it would probably make sense if you painted these pieces black, and then they'd be less visible. But I don't think I'll actually use this background too much. I don't know. So there it is with the background. So to compare it to some others, I didn't bother weathering this. I just got impatient and wanted to finish the video. But here's the Votom's version, which I did weather. Just a bunch of paint washes and the like. So, yeah, you can see it's the same skeletal structure, just a different color of plastic, but then the stuff stuck on there is quite different, quite interesting. So, these are 1/35th scale, so the box says. And that means that these are probably the smallest mechanized walkers in the sci-fi universe model kit realm that I'm aware of. Please let me know if you know of others. So here's a 1/35th scale Votom's. I unfortunately forget who made this. You'd have to look it up. It's called a bloodsucker. So there's supposed to be a human being inside this cockpit here. And going back to that other human, if we were to get this female here, yeah, it looks like, you could have a female inside of that cockpit there. So Votom's are actually quite large. Quite large. So these are supposed to be all the same scale. This is just a behemoth, right? The bloodsucker is a lot bigger than a scope dog. But, I don't care. I'm just going to pose these with my 1/40 scale Actic gears. So here's a scope dog from the Takara Actic gear line. And you will see how small the human is in this thing, right? I mean, that's a vast, huge difference in the size of a human being. Maybe you can't see that because the light's not getting in there. But there, now it is. So, look at the head, right? So, 1/48 versus 35th. Quite a big difference, unless some are big and some are small, I don't know, but the overall size of the robots, I think, look like they belong to each other. Even though this is correct, I don't like it. So here's another active gear. This is called a standing tortoise, I believe. It's one of the bigger ones, much bigger than a scope dog. And then, yeah, you can see, I think it works out pretty well. Again, here's a shot of how small the human, though, is inside of it. So I think it works out pretty well, and I'm going to continue building a few more obsoletes. I'm just going to pretend that somehow there's a human being, a 1/48 scale human being inside of those, and it works for myself here. Alright, so another cool kit by Good Smile Company. It didn't actually take that long for me to do. If I had to guess, it took around 6 hours to do. And that's because I painted the figures, all the figures that you don't even see. And I painted a few of the parts. So I think if you ignored all that stuff, you could make this thing in probably 2 hours. If you just clipped them off and put the thing together. Okay, well anyways, appreciate you guys watching today. And stay tuned, I'm going to build a few more of these obsolete kits. And you should go watch the thing on YouTube. That's how I found it. Alright, take care. Bye.